Yesterday, the story, if there is one, was about a series of unfortunate events of look at the love behind. In fact, that's the idea. That's why they're there. It's for you to watch them, and for me to also watch them because I can see them in just the image in the phone, and this is it's a good way it works because I can see what they're doing. If they're up to no good, now they're in top form. Earlier they were fighting. Now, hello. So he's he's talking to you. Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? About superficiality, about meeting so many prospects, girls, women in different circumstances, and enjoying that side of life. And indeed, in terms of happiness, is it Stefan Klein in Happiness Formula? But or in a few of the other positive psychology books, where you find that sex is one of the most important game changers, happiness boosting activities. So if only for that, that's wonderful. Exercise, quite a few rules, suggestions, ideas you can use, and so in that was good. Terminal. Now, talking again about Căciulata Călimanești and Nicole, she was in a different league. I mean, there were a series of adventures, if you will, of one night stands. That's one name for it. And minor relationships and connections and intimacies, physical intimacies. Even if there is also one thing that was maybe interesting is that I would get involved. I mean, it's like in Flow. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has this classic of positive psychology, Flow. It's about being in the zone, about when we feel at our best, a maximum, a climax, so to say, a blissful state. That tends to happen for some professions, ballet dancers, neurosurgeons, wait. And they come when challenges meet expectations, when we're somehow tested to the at the top of our abilities. So it's when we're in control, when time has a different takes a different meaning. For instance, the ballet dancer is on the stage for just 2 minutes, let's say, but it feels like a day. And then the neurosurgeon comes out from an operation and says, I'm hungry, let's have lunch. And they tell him, no, look outside, it's dark already, it's dinner time. So what he thought, it felt like 2-3 hours for him, but in fact he or she spent 10, 12 more. It's a different. One forgets about everything else. Then there's a whole book. It's a classic. There's much more to say about that. But basically, it felt like in flow. Like the conversation was intense. Not that it was deep or intellectual, but it felt different. No matter what was said. Roses are red, sugar is sweet, and so are you. So, violets are blue, roses are red, sugar is sweet, and so are you. Things like that. Silly, but still. So as I said, Nicole was intense, vibrant. She had a zest, joie de vivre, vivre à fond, sophistication, even if she wasn't really well educated. Well read would be an oxymoron. I'm just being mean now, but she read very few books, I'd say. And in a way, that's still to her, adding to her praise, in fact, because it's like she didn't have the education, all the she didn't get from books whatever she knew. She knew it from herself. She was self-educated, if you will. To make a comparison, I've read a lot, but then what do I know? Having read a lot and doing so little to agree with a spouse, that's the word I think I'm looking for, who is criticizing, annihilating yours truly. It's even worse. I mean, if one is stupid and has had no chance to get information from books, from school, somebody else, like the deplorables who vote for Trump, have no brains, then there is at least some attenuating circumstances. But in the case of Nicole, it was more to praise and honor and homage to her is due. Oh, how thy worth with manners can I sing, when thou art all the better part of me. What can my own praise to my own self bring, and what it's but my own when I praise thee? Hi, yes. She said she was a virgin. I'm not sure. We had sex, but I don't know. I was so silly, naive, and I mentioned in previous episodes, just past the threshold, just became, had become. It's a different tense. A sexually active male. Well, I had been sexually active for some years, but it was just masturbation, nothing else. Termina că te aud. So, I didn't know much, if anything. So, it was wonderful. I think I remember at one point it happened. We had sex on the balcony of my hotel room because of some reason. She had also a friend with her, and the friend would be watching television in the room, maybe. Details are scarce. I also remember back home I had at one point a Dacia, an old Dacia, with heating on the rear window, as the joke had it, to keep our hands warm when we push. It wasn't a spectacular model, on the contrary, but it was but I mean, a fantastic achievement, indeed, to have it. Was amazing. And I would take Nicole with it once in a while. And I remember we also had sex in the car on the outskirts of Bucharest. I mean, on the limit. We stayed, at one point I stayed in Tristor, as it is called, but I could walk from the city out in the field in 10 minutes, something like that. So that was, and that offered an opportunity. As I said, it happened with Nicole and in a few other cases. At one time, I just walked with my companion, and we stood in the grass, and it happened there. Nicole was, if not engaged, about to be engaged, and then married with a guy with a mustache, much like this one, I think. But I only decided on a mustache with a shutdown, with a pandemic some months ago. How long is it? 3, 4? So the idea was to go to Germany. So it was all planned. That offered both. That was both a restriction, a sad idea that the affair, the thing we had. Love is maybe too much to say. Love presupposes. Love means something more. It's so ecstatic, so such a many splendid thing that it's not something to use with connections which are so feeble. So it was a feeling we shared, but and limited somehow. But then it also offered some opportunities, as I will mention it, a liberty. I mean, when it happened that I met this fantastic woman, maybe the most beautiful I've met with the other one, also Nicoletta, but then Nikki, at about the same time. And when I would run away with Nikki, I could say to Nicole, look, you're engaged and you are going to marry that guy anyway, so why am I not free to do the same or something a little less dramatic? I mean, not marry, but be with someone else tomorrow, inshallah.